the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
I have a note that came in from Kay a moment ago. She's listening in Las Vegas, and it's about Halloween. Can you please speak to the practice of quote-unquote celebrating Halloween? We don't decorate our home, but I would also prefer not to have our kids trick-or-treating. My husband respectfully disagrees. I think more so because he has such fond memories of Halloween with his siblings. Thank you. Well, Kay, I kind of side with your husband on this one. There's nothing wrong with observing this secular holiday, in my view at least, and it derives from a Catholic custom, the night or the eve of All Saints. So we celebrate All Saints' Day on November 1st and All Souls' Day on November 2nd. And so from time immemorial, it was a beautiful, and still is, a beautiful custom to remember prayerfully, in the case of All Souls' Day on November 2nd, to remember our deceased loved ones, to celebrate their memory and to pray for them and so on, and to rejoice in the saints on their feast day, All Saints' Day. That's all those who are in heaven. So this custom that we now, there's a very, sort of stripped down, very secularized version of this, and I'll talk in a moment about Halloween as it's observed nowadays, but it comes from a Catholic custom, and to observe it in that way, I think is good, or at the very least, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've met people who say, absolutely not, we don't do Halloween, no way. And my way of looking at it is it depends on how you do it. So if you are, and you're not, obviously, I don't mean you personally, Kay, but you rhetorically, if you're sold out to the culture and you're not really thinking about God at all, and Halloween is just, let's dress up as witches and devils and have scary things and whatnot. I mean, yeah, it's a perversion of the original meaning of All Hallows Eve. It was the night before All Saints' Day. And Catholics celebrated, and they would have parties, and they would do fun things and feast and things like that. So it has devolved in these United States over the last, 100, 150 years. I don't think they celebrated Halloween much in the 19th century. I think it was more of a 20th century phenomenon. But in any case, it is, to my mind, harmless if it's involved with just trick-or-treating, going to dress up as a clown, going to dress up as a caveman, going to dress up as a, whatever, and go door to door, trick-or-treat, and they put some candy in your bag. It's utterly benign. And that's how I was raised. That's how I did Halloween when I was a kid. That's how we did Halloween with our 11 children, who are all adults now. That's how they do Halloween with their kids. There's no religious component whatsoever. And there was never, when I was growing up, not when I was a young father with kids who are doing trick-or-treat, and certainly not with my grandchildren now, there was never any room for witches or devils or anything like that. Other people would do that, but my kids, for example, they would trick-or-treat dressed as saints. My wife, she did a very elaborate Pope costume. So the big mitre, and there was a crozier, the staff, and the vestments and all that. And so that sort of passed down all of our 6 sons over the years. They were all the Pope at least once during Halloween with this beautiful homemade costume my wife made. And my daughters were saints. They would dress up as Saint Therese or some of these other saints. We got a plastic sword and a breastplate like a Roman soldier might wear, but my wife made these big, beautiful, elaborate wings with like cardboard wings with feathers on them. And so our boys would go as St. Michael the Archangel. And so for the Madrid family, when we'd be traipsing around the neighborhood with the kids dressed in their saints' costumes, invariably it was an opportunity for evangelization, because the person at the door would say, wow, who are you supposed to be? Oh, I'm St. Michael the Archangel. Or who are you supposed to be? Oh, I'm Pope John Paul II, or I'm Saint, Teresa of Avila, or something like that. So it allowed for our children, in a obviously fun kind of setting, it allowed for them to publicly witness to their faith. And that was a good thing for them. And I hope a good thing for the people who are dishing out the candy at the front door. So personally, I think there's nothing wrong at all with, if you're going to observe Halloween, it's not the kind of thing where you're doing devils or witches. Those things were always off limits. And I probably should emphasize that. But if it's having a pumpkin, a carved pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern, and giving out candy at the front door and kids going through the neighborhood and doing that, I think it's fine. I have no objection to it whatsoever, especially if it's being done in a way that inculcates in the kids, hey, here's an opportunity for me to be publicly Catholic, to publicly demonstrate faith in a way that I wouldn't otherwise get to do. To me, that seems like an added bonus, if you ask me. So respectfully, I would say that I agree with your husband on this one, but I do appreciate you taking a moment to write to me, Kay. Thank you. This entire episode of The Patrick Madrid Show is on the Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers. Don't delay. Download the app today. And thanks for listening.